So some other things to take: dry bags. These are nice. You put electronics or anything you don't want to get wet, especially if you're going to be going places that might be getting a lot of rain, the Amazon, rainforest, something like that. You just put your things in here, then this folds over, latches, and then whatever's in here will not get wet. I take 2 of them. Sunscreen is always important to take. I like to take hydration tablets, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of activity. These things are great if you're going to be doing hiking. For blisters, they call it moleskin, and they make different shapes and sizes. But I tell you, if you're hiking and you get a bad blister, this can be a lifesaver. I take various wet wipes and cleaning cloths, usually 1 or 2 packs. Always take an extra pillowcase. Pillowcases can be used for a variety of things. I do take a little travel pillow, but I don't take anything more than that. Also, travel towel. These are very handy. They're very absorbent. They dry fast. They're small. And I tell you, these come in extremely handy. Also, I take gloves. Depending on where I'm going, I'll usually just take a light pair of gloves. Unless I'm going, of course, somewhere where it's colder, then I'll take heavier duty pair of gloves. As far as what I pack most of my clothes and stuff into, I pack it into an Osprey Fairpoint 55. I've had this for 4 or 5 years, and it's a great bag. It's perfect size. I've never had a problem getting on an airline, although if it's packed completely full, and it does come with an additional little day bag that zips onto the front, and if you have both of these packed completely full, I have been questioned, but all I did was unzip this and made this my personal and this my carry-on, and I didn't have a problem. So, and then I also take a hiking backpack. This one is an Osprey Scarab, I think. I think it's a 32 liter. It's one of their less expensive packs. It's a 32 liter. This is the pack I carried hiking most of Peru, the Inca Trail, and it was fine. It doesn't have quite as nice of a back as most of the Ospreys. It does have a water bladder, I think 2.5 liter water bladder, but it was perfect. So I usually take this, and that's usually all. I usually don't check a bag unless I'm taking things like this time. I'm going to be taking things to give away and to sell in Peru, so I will take one checked luggage, and it will be full of all the things I'm taking as gifts and things to sell. So some other things I'll take that I've just sort of learned to take along the way is I always take a pair of extra boot laces. It's good to have. Take a small thing of paracord. It can be used for random things. Depending on where you're going, but almost always mosquito repellent. If you're like me, the bugs love me, especially mosquitoes. Belt. I usually just take one belt. Sometimes 2. I'll take a nylon and a leather belt. This I take, depending on where you're going. These are converters for different outlets, international outlets throughout the world. So you might only need to take one if you know where you're going, or you might not need any. Just you got to check before you travel what type of power outlets the country has. In Peru, most places you can plug in normal devices. Another thing to always take, and this comes in so handy no matter what you're doing, even if you're not hiking, is a light, a headlamp. This one is a black dime, and I think it's 500 lumens. It has a pretty good range. I always take a sleeping bag liner. Depending on where I go I usually won't take a sleeping bag. I'll try to rent one, or because they're so cumbersome to carry. But I always take a little sleeping bag liner. And this one's a good one, and it keeps you warm. Also take a little knife. Of course, you can't take it on your carry-on. You can only take a knife on a checked luggage. But this is just a tiny little one. It's got a bottle opener, a little wrench. It's even got a fire starter that comes with it. Locks for your luggage. Those are always good to have. You should really never leave your luggage unattended, but if you're checked luggage, you should always try to lock it up. I take a small first aid kit, but I also take a more extensive one, because you just never know. And I'll make a whole separate video